Now in theory, the biggest difference from Nen is that Jutsu doesn't place any soft or hard limits on what kind of techniques anyone except Rock Lee can learn.
No, Jeff, it kind of does, and it leads to a whole thing about stealing powers that runs through the entire manga as part of its themes and story. This section didn't have to be 4 minutes long, 3 of which are you comparing it to Nen. You know, I like Mother's Basement, but I have completely lost my ability to take him seriously when he talks about Naruto. I thought what he said about Naruto in the shonen power scaling video was dumb when I first watched it, and I still do. The problem with the video is that he spends far more time trying to prove Naruto's power system is ripping off Hunter x Hunter than he does actually discussing the power system. He refers to chakra as borrowing a lot from aura without acknowledging the mix of physical, spiritual and natural energy it actually is that distinguishes it from its predecessors. Something he's willing to do for every other power system in the video with impressive depth. The evidence he brings up to support this claim is the fact that there's a way to test your affinity in the power system's categorizations. That's it. That's all he has to say about chakra.
Taijutsu's just enhancement, puppeteers, shadow stitchers, and animal handlers are all various flavors of manipulator. Shadow clones and summoning are conjuring moves, only bigger sometimes. Most long-range jutsu or emission analogs.
He calls taijutsu just enhancement, as if the idea of ninja doing martial arts is something Kishimoto could only have thought of after reading Hunter x Hunter. He directly compares summons to conjurers as if they aren't objectively different things that work in objectively different ways. He calls ninjutsu emission analogs because despite the fact he talked about Dragon Ball, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Yu Yu Hakusho in earlier segments, surely the idea of shooting attacks away from your body could only be the result of imitating emitters. He somehow even turns the fact that chakra natures work on a limited system dependent on the traditional elements into a negative by saying it's more limited than transmutation, as if he wouldn't just call it a ripoff if it wasn't. And if your ability lets you control anything from people to objects, well, then you're a manipulator. In case you don't see what he's doing, he's basically taking the fact that Nen is such an in-depth power system that you can basically do anything with it, and using it to degrade Naruto when what that really means is that you can do this with anything. Watch. Martial arts,
just enhancement,
telekinesis and Babidi's mental influence
are all various flavors of manipulator.
The wish-granting dragons
are conjuring moves, only bigger sometimes.
Ki blasts
or emission analogs.
And then you simply just don't mention anything that doesn't fit and behold, everything rips off Hunter x Hunter. Superman's just an enhancer who's learned emission and transmutation. Superman is gone. Then again, if you try to talk about things like chakra as a way for people to connect, or the nature of summons and their connection to nature energy and sage mode, he'd have to understand part 2 or even acknowledge it in this video outside of Daedra.